the Roman Empire, a name synonymous with power, engineering, and ruthless efficiency. But the story of Rome is more than just legions marching across open fields. It's a story of adaptation and learning to fight on different battlefields. Today we journey to the dense forests and rugged mountains of Thrace. This is the story of the Roman Thracian campaign, a grinding, brutal conflict against a fierce and fragmented enemy. It tested the limits of Roman military might and showcased the resilience of the Thracian people. To understand Rome's campaign in Thrace, we must first turn back the clock. The Roman Republic, by the 1st century BC, was already a dominant power in the Mediterranean. They had vanquished Carthage, subdued Greece, and their legions were feared. Macedon, once a mighty empire, had fallen to Rome. The Thracians inhabited a region crucial to Roman interests. Their lands provided access to valuable resources and vital trade routes. Rome saw the instability in Thrace as an opportunity to expand their influence. What awaited them was a protracted and bloody struggle against fierce Thracian resistance. The Thracians were not a unified nation, but a collection of tribes, each fiercely independent, each with their own king or chieftain. They were renowned for their horsemanship, their ferocity in battle, and their love of lavish feasts and strong drink. They were a warrior culture through and through, where skill in battle and personal bravery were prized above all else. Their weapons and armour were distinct. The Thracian psyche, a curved dagger designed for slashing attacks, was particularly feared by Roman legionaries. Imagine, if you will, the terror of a Roman soldier clad in his lorica segmentata, facing down a charge of screaming Thracians, their sicae flashing in the sunlight. They were also skilled horsemen, using javelins and light bows to harass their enemies from afar. The Thracian cavalry, unlike the more disciplined Roman formations, relied on speed and agility, launching hit-and-run attacks before melting back into the forests. But their greatest strength was also their greatest weakness, their disunity. The various Thracian tribes were often at odds with each other, their alliances shifting like the sands of the desert. This lack of unity would prove to be a crucial factor in their struggle against the organized might of Rome. The seeds of conflict between Rome and the Thracians were sown long before the legions crossed the border. Roman influence in the region had been growing steadily, much to the displeasure of the fiercely independent Thracian tribes. Border clashes, raids, and punitive expeditions were commonplace. However, the spark that ignited the full-blown Thracian campaign came in the form of a king named Vologases. Ambitious and ruthless, Vologases united several Thracian tribes under his banner, posing a significant threat to Roman interests in the region. He understood, perhaps better than those who came before him, that only a united Thrace could hope to stand against the Roman war machine. His defiance was a direct challenge to Roman authority, a challenge they could not ignore. A show of force was needed, a demonstration of Roman power that would cow the Thracian tribes into submission, and so the legions were unleashed. The Roman army that marched into Thrace was a force to be reckoned with. Disciplined, professional, and brutally efficient, the legions were the hammer with which Rome shaped the ancient world. Their iconic formations, the maniples and sentries, were designed for flexibility and resilience in battle. They fought not as individuals, but as a single deadly organism. Each legionary was a cog in a vast, efficient machine of war, trained from youth to fight and die for the glory of Rome. Leading these legions were experienced commanders, men who had cut their teeth in campaigns across the empire. They understood the importance of logistics, of discipline, and of adapting to the enemy and the terrain. But even the most well-equipped and well-led army faced significant challenges in the wilds of Thrace. The terrain, a mix of dense forests, rugged mountains, and swift-flowing rivers, was ideal for defense and a logistical nightmare for an invading force. The Thracians, for their part, were masters of their native terrain. They knew the forest like the backs of their hands. using the terrain to their advantage. They were masters of ambush and hit-and-run tactics, striking from the shadows before melting back into the undergrowth. They would harass the Roman columns, picking off stragglers and raiding supply lines. Their goal was not to defeat the legions in open battle, a fool's errand, but to bleed them dry, to wear down their morale and to make the cost of conquest too high to bear. They would lure the Romans into traps, ambushing them in narrow valleys and dense forests. The legions, used to fighting in open order, found themselves bogged down, their formations disrupted, their discipline tested. This was not the type of warfare the Roman army excelled at. They were used to pitched battles, to facing their enemies across open fields. Here, in the wilds of Thrace, they were fighting a phantom enemy, one that seemed to vanish into thin air after every attack. Despite the challenges they faced, the Roman legions were relentless. They adapted their tactics, relying more on auxiliary troops recruited from regions similar to Thrace. These troops, used to the terrain and the fighting style of the Thracians, proved invaluable. There were numerous engagements, some small-scale skirmishes, others larger, bloodier affairs. One such engagement took place near the Haemus Mountains. The legions, led by a skilled commander named Marcus Licinius Crassus, found themselves surrounded by a large Thracian force. The fighting was fierce and desperate, with heavy casualties on both sides. But the Roman legions, with their superior discipline and training, eventually prevailed. The victory was a costly one, however, and served as a stark reminder that the Thracians were not easily subdued. Another significant engagement took place at the siege of the Thracian city of Uskudama. The Romans, their supply lines stretched thin, were determined to take the city and deny the Thracians a vital stronghold. The siege lasted for weeks, with both sides suffering heavy losses. In the end, the Romans were victorious, their superior siegecraft proving too much for the defenders of Uskudama. The Roman campaign in Thrace was ultimately successful, at least in the sense that Roman authority was established over the region. But it was a Pyrrhic victory, achieved at a high cost in blood and treasure. The Thracians, though defeated militarily, never truly surrendered their spirit. They continued to resist Roman rule, launching sporadic uprisings and rebellions for years to come. The region remained a thorn in Rome's side, requiring a significant military presence to maintain order. The campaign had a profound impact on both Rome and Thrace. For Rome, it highlighted the challenges of fighting in difficult terrain against a determined and elusive enemy. It forced them to adapt their tactics, to rely more on auxiliary troops, and to accept that some victories come at a heavy price. For the Thracians, the Roman conquest marked the end of their independence, at least for a time. Their culture, though never fully extinguished, was subsumed into the vast Roman melting pot. Their lands were plundered for resources, their people enslaved, their way of life forever altered. The Roman campaign in Thrace, though often overshadowed by grander conquests, offers a valuable lesson in the realities of ancient warfare. It was a brutal and bloody affair, fought not for glory or riches, but for control of a strategically important region. It showcased the strengths of the Roman military machine, its discipline, its organization, its ability to adapt and overcome. But it also exposed its limitations, reminding us that even the most powerful empires are not invincible. The legacy of the campaign is a complex one. It left a lasting mark on both Rome and Thrace, shaping their destinies for centuries to come. It serves as a reminder of the human cost of war, of the brutality and resilience of our species, and of the enduring power of the human spirit, even in the face of overwhelming odds.